Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Morganino Podcast, a conversation show about sports and sports entertainment. My name is Rod Morgan. I will serve as the host of this show. My partner in crime, my co-host, my executive producer, the man who makes this Morgan podcasting network go. And we do say network now. Big news coming up at the end of the episode about a second podcast Jimmy and I have out there in the world for you people to enjoy. I just gave away the first part of his name. He's my guy, Jimmy Jamreska. Jimmy, hello.
Rod, as a Chicago sports fan, it's not a bad time to, rep the Cubbies, rep the Bulls, rep the Bears. Blackhawks are okay. Sox are almost 500, so let's go.
Sox are almost 500. That's huge compared to how the White Sox were last year. I completely understand that. Another gentleman wearing a Cubs hat on this podcast. And interestingly enough, he was alive both times the Cubs won the World Series. He's our old man, Chris King. Chris, hello.
We've won the World Series more than just twice, all right? There was a few times before back in the day, all right? So let's just not limit us to only two, all right? There was just over a century between two of them.
You made yourself older, Chris.
Yeah, you did.
When has that not ever happened?
That is a very good point. We will get to a little bit of baseball, right? The Cubs there. We'll get to a little bit of Journey to Rodtober, fastly becoming my new favorite segment. We're going to get to some NBA. We're going to definitely get to some wrestling. But first, I want to start with the cold open question of the week. My son, the Vanimal, just recently brought home his 8th grade yearbook. He's only got a couple weeks of 8th grade left. Got me to thinking, I remember back in the day, Jimmy, Lincoln Junior High. I know for a fact you got a junior high yearbook. I'm not entirely sure what kind of leather-bound catastrophe they were putting together for the old man back in his time. We'll get to him in a second. But you, for a fact, I know have a yearbook pretty similar to mine. Did you have a go-to thing you liked signing in yearbooks, Jimmy? Do you have anything that somebody signed to you in a yearbook that you remember? What was the first thing you thought of when I told you Yearbook Memories?
First thing I thought of was I just signed your crack. I mean, let's be honest. Someone had to be the first one to do that, no matter who it was. We won't mention any names because, people might be nervous about that. But I was shocking, Rod. I was not as clever as that. Usually I think I just put enjoy it or something along those lines. If I could go back, I would probably write objects in the rearview mirror may appear closer than they are, just because of my Meatloaf fandom. But other than that, it was pretty simple for me.
It would have been pretty solid though, Jimmy. I would have liked that if you would have done that one. I like that an awful lot. I think if somebody was a really, really good friend of mine, I think I would kind of give them a personalized greeting, right? But then I think if somebody just had me sign their yearbook and I wasn't 100% familiar with them, I think I was hey, have a nice summer. I think I was a lot of have a nice summer signed by Rod Morgan there, right? Because you got to do the first name, big R, Rod Morgan, sign it out there. I kind of get the G, finishes it off almost a little bit of an underline there. So even as an 8th grade youth, I was trying to make my signature have a little bit of character. But I have quips and I think of things all the time quickly on this podcast. But as an 8th grader, I wasn't there. I think I was just have a nice summer more often than not. Old man, did you have to chisel into stone? Did you have to bring your own quill to write with? How did it work, yearbooks back in your time?
Usually you had to have your own little ink and quill set, Rod. No, my go-to was Head for the Mountains. All right, I was a Busch Light guy.
Head for the mountains. I like it. In Indiana, because there's just so many mountains
exactly.
for all of your fellow graduates to head for.
Completely flat where I grew up. Completely flat.
Wonderful. Head for the mountains is not bad, though. You can instrue that a lot of different ways if you want to be advice about a lot of different things. So I like it there, Chris. That's good. Cold open question can sometimes be just that. We move on quickly, and that one we're over and done with. The Journey to Rodtober. I told Jimmy and Chris I wanted to try to come back to baseball. I found myself allowing a little bit of baseball into my heart because I walked away from the game for so long. I'm not just going to be able to open the floodgates again, right? We're going to have to let little bits trickle in, and then maybe we'll come back there. So how we like to do Journey to Rodtober is I'll let you guys know something that came across my radar on baseball. You guys fire back something that I should know about baseball, and that's what we'll do and see how into baseball I am by October. What came across my desk this week is the manager for the San Francisco Giants. I did not know anything about this. I was completely baffled when I heard the name Tony Vitolo, and I was like, who is this guy? And so then I did some looking, and I found out this guy was a college manager. He'd never managed in the major leagues before, and one Buster Posey thought that he was the smartest guy in the room. He's going to break the mold. He's going to do something that has never been done before. Jimmy, I also thought there was some sort of kismet, maybe. I'm not sure what the right word is, that I first found out about this guy who's managing a team with zero experience during the same week that the legendary Bobby Cox passed away, a guy who had nothing but buku major league experience. What do I need to know about Tony Vitolo that I didn't just pick up already this week, Jimmy?
Okay, first of all, Bobby Cox, obviously, rest in peace. The Braves are still in first place, so he did a good job with him. So they got him from Tennessee, and it's so strange because you're used to college coaches jumping to the NFL or NBA all the time, but in baseball, you never really think about it because you have to pay your dues. Baseball is old school. You got to manage A, double A. Ryan Sandberg had to manage an A club for a while before he got promoted up. I mean, these are Hall of Famers that are doing it. And anytime you go into a fraternity that has strict unwritten rules and you are breaking one of those unwritten rules, people are going to look down on you no matter what. Now, are the Giants good this year? They're 18-24, okay? They're not that good. However, they've been hurt a lot, and they're in a division with the Padres and Dodgers, and let alone the Diamondbacks, okay? So they're not set up to win there. So this is a long-term thing. I will say, I believe their outfield had sex last night together in the outfield. It was kind of weird. He had a great comeback. He's like, I'm not going to comment. We're a close-knit group. That was great. I'm a big fan of Tony.
All right, Jimmy is in on it. Chris, I do understand that baseball is a little bit younger these days. Teams are signing their young guys to extended contracts to get them through arbitration. Teams are calling guys up a little sooner. I did read that a couple Tennessee guys are on the San Francisco Giants that he did manage at one time. So I suppose, to borrow a phrase here, Chris, it's not that far out of left field, but an old school guy like you, what did you think when you heard about this?
It makes sense in today's world, right? College sports is a whole lot more professional now than it was 20 years ago. So managing a baseball club in college and winning a College World Series probably isn't that too far off of doing it on a major league level. You have probably more depth and roster to work with in college than you do the pros, but you have the minors to pick from the pros. So listen, if the guy can get talent at a deal, he can make San Francisco worthwhile again. Plus, he's great. He's great after games. He delivers.
He does seem to be a character.
He delivers quotes all the time.
Listen, we're going to talk about wrestling later in this podcast. We love somebody who can be a good quote machine. A promo, Jimmy. If he can cut a promo, I'm absolutely in. What else you got for me in the journey to Rodtober, Jimmy Jam?
Well, we talked about gyrations in the outfield. Let's talk about showering now, shall we? Cal Raleigh, who last year, he's a catcher for the Mariners. He probably should have been the MVP. Probably should have been the MVP last year. Has not had a good season this year. And that's mostly because my son Jackson bought an auto rookie card of his a few months ago, and it's gone downhill like you don't even want to know. He's not very happy about that. He was an 0-38 slump before yesterday. Well, it was like 0-35, but and then he came in and he decided after Monday night he's going to shower in his uniform. So one of those unwritten rules, superstitions, we're going to shower, get everything clean, out, done. And then yesterday he comes, he gets 2 hits, he's back on track. That card, value's going up, baby.
So, Chris, can I say that this is more of a PG version of, to pull a phrase from our guy Mark Grace here, this is slump buster? Is this a bit of a slump buster that Cal Raleigh tried here? A little more of a PG version of a slump buster? Is that what just happened here?
Yeah, it was given to him by, I believe, a veteran pitcher on Seattle, and he was like, hey, you need to cleanse you and your uniform off for the baseball gods so they can look favorable on you again.
Nice. Listen, hey, whatever works for Cal Raleigh, he seems to be like a guy in baseball who doesn't have the athletic frame, and Cal Raleigh is certainly that. So I'm in on Tony Vitolo, like a promo, in on Cal Raleigh, not necessarily the athletic frame. Chris, what do you got for me in Journey to Rodtober?
All right, we do like to talk about excellence, right? And I'm not supposed to bring up he who should not be named anymore for you, right?
You can bring him up all you want. He's just not going to sway me. I just wanted you
Right.
to understand that.
I'm going to give you a couple. We're going to zero in on one guy, but I want to bring up two other factoids for you, all right? Jimmy already mentioned him, the Atlanta Braves. First place again. Let me just tell you some of the categories that they rank first in as a team, all right? Runs scored, hits, batting average, slugging percentage, OPS. Oh, and they're second in home runs. They're first in runs allowed, hits allowed, batting average against, and ERA. Like this team is
Okay.
complete. They are the best at everything right now, and they're beating up on the Cubs. So
I like that you brought up the Braves there. That gives me a quick chance to say R.I.P. Ted Turner. All right. That guy did an awful lot for sports in my lifetime, did an awful lot for wrestling in my lifetime, did an awful lot for America, really. I think he went about making sure Ted was okay, but he really did kind of do an awful lot for America. Shout out to Ted Turner. He was a bit of a maverick. Go ahead, Chris.
I also like to bring up, I know he's a hero of yours, Rod, all right, because he helped us in 2016. Kyle Schwarber for the Phillies, 5 games in a row, 6 home runs in 5 games in a row, which coincides with Don Mattingly, one of my all-time heroes that wore a baseball uniform, coming up to manage the Phillies. They are on a 11-2 streak since he came back up. He has won over 900 games as his manager. I love me some Don Mattingly.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that too. Don was like, I don't know if I got the energy to manage a major league ball club anymore. And then they're like, fired their manager. And they're like, hey, Don, you want to manage? He's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm all right. Give me a couple caffeine pills here. We'll be just fine. I'm ready to go again. Shout out to Don Mattingly. Jimmy, there's a pitcher in Pittsburgh who I've heard about over the last couple of years because he's kind of famous and he's like dating a real famous gymnast Instagram influencer. Kind of, who knows these days in the
Sports
world that we live
Illustrated
in.
swimsuit model.
There you go, Livy Dunn. But Paul Skeens can actually pitch a little bit too, huh?
He's basically Cooper Flag, one of those that just came in and started playing great and has not really looked back. He has 6 earned runs in his last 8 starts, 1.98 ERA. That's actually up from the last 2 seasons. Kind of funny. People want to talk about his downfall because last year at this time it was 197. The year before that it was like 195. Pirates are also 23-19. Listen, if you look at the standings right now, we've got a lot of decent teams, okay? There's nobody that's just horrendous in the National League. And honestly, everyone's got, I think, at least, 16 wins? That's not bad coming in right now. So the parity's there. Like you said, there are a lot of people that are being signed to long-term deals. Now, is it going to bite some? No question. But it's going to help keep people in these small markets. So go Pittsburgh. Again, Pirates, in a tough division, though, Rod. You got the Cubs, Brewers, and Cardinals just doing great, but the Pirates and Reds, everyone in that division's over 500. It's amazing.
Best division in baseball. Most competitive, too.
So the Cardinals are actually good again? Man, you hate to hear that. Sorry to our
well, and I feel bad for Pittsburgh because once his contract comes up, someone's going to be wanting to pay him a boatload of money, and it won't be Pittsburgh, unfortunately, right? This is his 3rd season, Rod. His career ERA is 1.97. His highest ERA in a year is 1.98. So he has been consistently dominant. He reminds me more of a Greg Maddux. The dude has control. He gets dudes out. He had 6 strikeouts in a row the other night. So it's just phenomenal.
Seems to have a little more personality than Greg Maddux. I appreciate that. Personality goes a long way. We learned that in Pulp Fiction. You know what else goes a long way? Talking about the NBA. And I like to flex my muscles as a bit of a takester. So I turn the question and driving part over to my guy, Jimmy Jamriska. Jimmy, on the fast break.
It is time for the fast break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. We had it. It happened. You saw us. Rod did a live on it. The lottery fallout begins. Now, gentlemen, I'm giving you like 2 minutes on this because we have spent the past 6 months talking about this, it seems like. So calm down, both of you. Chris, after everything has been said and done, the Pacers traded the number 5 pick, Benedict Mathurin, a 2029 first-round pick, and Jackson, what's his first name? I love that guy. Anyway, the center that they just picked up that I just went because I can't remember. Zubac. For Zubac. See, it was great. He really memorable player there. Has it been worth it, Chris? Yes or no?
We'll really find out next year if we stay healthy and are competitive, right, in the East, which I assume we're going to be. I think this does nothing but kind of cement my belief in the fact of tanking does not work, nor will it pay off. Right? You want to talk about a franchise that is known for tanking all the time, and I don't think it's ever really worked. Let's talk about the Washington Wizards. They're going to try it again. They're getting the number one pick. I don't see it. Go out and try to win. New York does it. LA does it. Let's go out and try to win.
What? Okay, yeah, that is true. They do that. It just when your president comes out, Kevin Pritchard tweeted out, "I'm sorry to all the fans. I thought we were going to have better luck than that." Hey, Rod, did he understand it was 52-48 chance? See, Rod's so upset he's muted,
Yeah,
Chris, and I appreciate that, Rod. I appreciate you muted yourself.
Yep.
I understand that you gave us ground rules here, Jimmy, and I don't want to plow this field over and over again either, okay? I'm associated with the Amish quite a bit these days, delivering flowers to them. I like to think I have an understanding of the proper way to treat the earth with respect so that it can grow good takes, okay? But Chris is being absolutely ridiculous here. He literally just tried to draw an equivocation between the Pacers, a small market franchise, and the Knicks, hello, large media market, and the Lakers, hello, large media market. Yeah, I bet those two teams try to win all the time, Chris, because they got a bunch of money. They got a huge media deal. They can charge a lot of money for their tickets. They get huge merchandising sales. The money that the Lakers and the Knicks can spend dwarfs the money that the Pacers can spend.
This is still the first time the Pacers did this, though. They've never done this before. They've never tanked on purpose.
And it bit them bad, unfortunately.
Jimmy, did I interrupt Chris while he was giving his take?
No, I apologize. I did get heated.
All right, Bontemps, calm down. All right, go ahead, McMahon.
I mean, like, I can't sit here, okay? And that's the other reason I get so sick of Chris's argument. I can't sit here and say winning is a bad idea because that's all Chris does. It's say win. Teams try to win. So, like, I can't sit here and say winning is a bad idea because that's ludicrous. I understand that that's not the idea, okay? But you need to play within the framework. And the Pacers giving up two unprotected first-round draft picks, which is essentially what this works out to now. You could talk to me all you want about the coin flip and the protection the Pacers put on it before the trade went down. But what happened is the number 5 pick and a pick in 2029 are going to the Clippers, as well as Benedict Mathurin for Ivica Zubac, a guy who's already slowing down and a guy who we're starting to receive word the Pacers only wanted because they're cheap. They wanted his contract because they could bring him onto the team and still not flirt with the luxury tax. So fine, listen, you and Dax and all the Pacers fans, wrap yourselves in the cloak of we're going to try to win. We're the scrappy Pacers, and we lost Halliburton. Great, grand, wonderful. You know what you should have done? Tried to figure out a way to plug your center that didn't involve giving up the highest draft pick your franchise would have ever had, when you can then groom a guy to take over a couple of years from now when your older players start to fall off, like McConnell, like Siakam, like Zubac. But no, the Pacers are trying to win, Jimmy, so everything's fine.
That wasn't even his Rod Nation. That's coming up in a minute. That's crazy. So the Pacers obviously are the big losers. I think the Clippers are the second best winners here. Obviously, they got the 5th pick. They're going to be able to either make a trade, get another veteran in there, or pick a young up-and-comer. But I think by far, Chris, the Bulls are the biggest winner here because the Bulls were able to get that 4th pick, and they just have to chill. They have to relax, and whoever comes to them, if it's DeBanza, Boozer, Peterson, or Caleb Wilson, whichever one of those 4 goes to the Bulls is a terrific pick. I am so excited for Cowboy Derek. I'm excited for myself, who's a Bulls fan as well. Chris, talk to me about the Bulls and how lucky were they to get that pick?
I mean, yeah, like you got to be happy if you're a Bulls fan. And you're right. At pick number 4, you're taking best player available. All right. I believe you have plenty of need in Chicago, so you'll take whatever is there, the best player. So, right. Kudos, right? Good job. Like, you need something. You were supposed to, if everything fell right, you were going to get the 9th pick. Is that was going to be? So you jumped 5 spots.
Yeah.
For doing nothing. that's a win.
Yeah, that is a win. And I would say that also shout out to the Jazz who got the second pick. That's the first time they've ever moved up. They actually got the third pick as well. Their numbers came up for the third pick. Obviously, then they went to the Grizzlies. The only person, we'll talk about him more. The only person I'm worried about, and I know Rod's on my page on this, is Peterson. You got to play, and that just worried me. So if he goes top 3, I'm ecstatic. You're telling me I get Boozer at 4 when I'm not extremely high in Boozer, but Boozer or Wilson at 4? Let's go, Rod.
Absolutely with you there, Jimmy. You can talk to me about creatine all you want, and you can talk to me all you want about Peterson's ceiling might be higher, but like I watch these playoff games and give me a guy who's got a motor. Give me a guy who's absolutely dying for it. And I don't have all the answers about Darren Peterson, so I don't want to jump too far into burying him before his career even starts. But I, like you, have some serious trepidation. So I would want Debanza if I could get him. If I can't get Debanza, I would definitely be looking at Boozer or Wilson. And I would kind of, what does my team need, right? Do I want a guy who I think's got a pretty low floor, but maybe doesn't have the highest ceiling, but is going to be a real solid guy who picks up quick? That's probably Boozer. Or I want a guy who maybe is a big, but maybe could be a big wing if he gets a bit of a jumper. Wilson, to me, seems to have the higher ceiling. So I like the Bulls. Hope they just take the best guy there, and we sit back and we slow play it. Because when the Bulls try to go fast, Jimmy, it doesn't work for them.
I kind of hope it's Boozer for them. He's probably got the highest basketball IQ of the 4, if you ask me, and I think that's beneficial no matter what system you go to. So if I was the Bulls, I'd want Boozer.
Apparently, he had a really great, actually, regular season. But this tournament, that's the only time I've watched him, wasn't very good in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. That maybe it was just a couple of bad games. But again, you're getting him at 4. That's amazing. We're going to go back to Indiana here in a second because we have a Rod Damnation of the week.
Hi, Jimmy. I'm going to keep this rather quick, but it is something that, unfortunately, this isn't the first time it's happened. And unfortunately, it's probably not going to be the last time it happened. But Pacers fans that were a little in their feelings, a little bit mad after the draft lottery on Sunday afternoon, decided to lash out. And they decided to lash out, unfortunately, at a popular topic on Twitter. They lashed out at one Caitlin Cooper. They lashed out at Caitlin Cooper acting like she doesn't know basketball, questioning how dare she say anything about the Pacers. And it's just, I don't understand it. Let me take that back. I do understand it. But if you're yelling at Caitlin Cooper because she's a female talking to you about basketball, you clearly don't follow basketball, okay? Because Rick Carlisle, the Pacers coach, completely respects Caitlin Cooper, comes on her podcast all the time, gives her inside information. Zach Lowe, I bet some of you dudes out there have heard of Zach Lowe and respect what he has to say. He absolutely loves Caitlin Cooper. If you want to know what the Indiana Pacers are up to, there's probably not anybody better to follow than Caitlin Cooper. So you angry Twitter trolls who were mad and wanted to go out and yell at people on Sunday, find somebody other than Caitlin Cooper. I get absolutely sick and tired of seeing the same discussion that happens every time the Pacers come up. Some jerk-offs fire off on Caitlin Cooper, acting like she doesn't know what she's talking about, and then people have to come to her defense, and then these guys get shamed. Do a little bit of research, you punks. Sit there and yell at people on Twitter all day because that's what's going to happen, but do a little bit of research and at least have a take that makes a little bit of sense.
What's Twitter now?
Oh, goodness.
Listen, there are times that I'm real happy that I'm not on social media nearly as much as what maybe some of you guys, so I don't get, I guess, bombarded by that type of vitriol all the time, because I think it's saddening, really, more than anything.
Yeah, and people hate you on social media, Chris, just so you know.
Oh, I'm sure. Good. Great. I do not care.
I know, neither do
I don't think they like
really
any of us, Chris, so don't feel like it.
No, they don't like anybody, and I just say thanks for listening or watching, because honestly, that's all that really matters to us there. All right, let's talk about some teams that are still playing basketball. We have the Thunder and Spurs. Thunder just swept the Lakers. The Spurs kind of dismantled the Wolves last night. They're inevitable. This is going to happen, and I think this might be one of the best series we've ever seen in the NBA playoffs. Right?
I'm sort of on the other side, so why don't you go to Chris? Because I think he agrees with you, and then I'll respond to both of you after Chris goes.
Chris, thoughts?
I don't like talking about Spurs versus the Thunder until we get through this Wolves series. Because let me tell
See,
you,
he's taking my point now. I'm calling it. Wolves are going to win game 6 and
Let's
7.
go.
He's
Well,
taking my point now.
I mean,
You've
listen,
been talking Wembanyama all year long. I set you up to go along with Jimmy, and you're going to steal my point? No, sorry, Chris. I'm jumping in now if that's going to be your point.
Did he interrupt you, Rod? Did he interrupt you? Calm
Yes.
down.
Yes. Go ahead, Rod.
Can't believe
Take
he was
it.
no. I can't believe he was going to take that. I honestly, Jimmy, in a million years, Chris loves Wembanyama, loves Glazing Wembanyama, loves the Spurs guards. I had never in a million years did I think that he was going to come on here and be like, no, let's not count out the Wolves. But that's absolutely what I'm saying. Don't count out the Wolves. Anthony Edwards is going to have tonight while we record this podcast. He's going to have all day tomorrow to sit at his house and eagerly await the Minnesota Vikings schedule release when no NBA basketball game gets played. And then on Friday, he's going to have morning and afternoon to sit around and let that meat burger knee of his heal up just a little bit. They're going to shoot him up with enough stuff, and they are winning game 6, Jimmy, and anything goes in game 7. Do not count out the Wolves.
Well, and let me tell you, this whole thing with Wemby and the no intent crap the NBA is saying has left a sour taste in my mouth. Right? I was planning on coming because last week I gave Wemby some shit for. Sorry, Jimmy. I gave crap for shooting extra threes when he was off and doing things that a superstar shouldn't do. And he came back and played well those next 2 games until he decided to throw that elbow. And at that point, when the NBA wanted to treat him like a superstar when he really hasn't quite earned it yet, right? To be like treated this well, I have a little sour taste in my mouth. And if I was Minnesota, I would too. And I'm looking for revenge. I'm looking to punch somebody in the mouth. I'm playing some hard defense. Like, I would not be counting out Minnesota either.
I'm counting Minnesota out because I don't think Ant Edwards is going to be able to just come back. He is hurt. Yes, he does have some time, Rod, and that is big. But I just think he's played so hard and so great over the past couple games anyway that there's only so much you can ask for him. And Rudy Gobert the other night had the game of his life. You are not supposed to pass it to him ever. And he was doing and ones and making the free throw. You know, at some point that luck's got to run out.
You just made the list. You just made Ant Edwards' list, Jimmy, is what you just made right there because you counted Ant Edwards out, all right? Nobody that was ever under the tutelage of one Tom Crean should be counted out, my friend, all right? And maybe Tom Crean's tenure in Georgia might be a little bit forgettable, but not for me. Everything Tom Crean does is memorable, and he gave us Anthony Edwards out of Georgia.
So the New York Knicks, can we agree that they're in the Eastern Conference Finals? Is that okay? Can we agree?
They are in the Eastern Conference Finals. So if we disagreed with you on that, Jimmy, then nobody should ever listen to this podcast.
I mean, I think we need to start agreeing that they're going to be in the NBA Finals.
Well, right now
Father Pete doesn't appreciate that, Chris. Father Pete does not appreciate what you just said.
Cavs and Pistons is tied at 2. End of the third quarter as we're recording, 84-80 Cavs. It's going to go down to the wire again. At least we have a good game tonight, and that's really great. But let's talk about the Knicks. The Knicks beat the Hawks. Hawks are going to probably make a big trade or two this summer. I mean, it really looks like they might try to go for something, so they're going to change a lot. Sold the Philadelphia 76ers. Had a home game in Philadelphia. Daryl Morey, gone. They're going to try to do a lot of stuff in Philadelphia. The Knicks are ramping up to become the Eastern Conference champions. Chris, we already know you're all for it. Rod, do you see either the Pistons or Cavs being able to handle the Knicks?
Certainly not the Cavs. I do not believe in the Cavs whatsoever. I don't necessarily have a huge amount of belief stored up in the lower cockles of my heart for the Detroit Pistons based on the fact that they can't really score and based on the fact that Cade Cunningham just has insane turnovers at times, right? He just hasn't quite tightened up that grip and that ball handling tightness that you need for the playoffs. But Detroit kind of seems like that team. Like, I thought they were going to lose to Orlando, and then here they are, right? And like, they could easily lose this game to the Cleveland tonight, and I still wouldn't count them out. So like, Detroit's that team that like, you've got to hit them, you've got to tie them down, you got to turn back around and give them another kick to the forehead to make sure that they're down. Like, Detroit is totally that team. So I wouldn't count them out, but The Knicks are a wagon right now, Jimmy. Like we said, if Mike Brown could get these guys playing similar defense that they did last year, which they're finally doing again, and if these guys could get a bit of a different look on offense that isn't just Jalen Brunson beating the air out of the basketball and getting a shot, they're dangerous. And Karl Anthony Towns is averaging like 7 assists a game right now. He's playing tough defense. Like, I'm still not a Cat guy, but you got to give it up to him what he's doing. And OG Anunoby, Chris's guy, former Hoosier, if he comes back, the Knicks are going to look even tougher because they just wiped out the Sixers and OG was out for a lot of those games. So, like, I think the Knicks are a wagon, but whoever comes out of the West is still going to be quite formidable.
So, Chris, we haven't hit the story, though. The story of the Knicks is very simple.
Yeah, they're 7-0.
We know. Yeah, we know. Danhausen. It's all Danhausen, right?
Like all Knicks have left to do is make sure he gets those courtside seats, and they're not losing another game. I mean, I'm not sure it matters if OKC or San Antonio or Minnesota, whoever comes out of the West. Right now, Danhausen is perfect after uncursing the Knicks. They are 7-0 since that uncursing.
And he just needs to sit between, Timothy Chalamet and Kyler
Jenner.
Model or something?
Jenner Model.
No, yeah, thank you. Like a Jenner Model. Okay, sorry.
Chalamet, you know what, though? Chalamet is enough online that he might go for it. So he might go for allowing Danhausen to sit between him and his old lady. He really might go for
Did
that.
you get,
dude?
Halliburton wouldn't even go against the Knicks right now. He's like, listen, I don't want the smoke with Danhausen.
Yeah. Chalamet claims to like wrestling, right, Jimmy? Remember he showed up on the Cody Rhodes podcast. Now, I'm pretty certain that he just crammed for 2 hours at a trailer before he showed up on Cody Rhodes' podcast, but at least he tried to claim to be a WWE fan.
They did a lot of takes on that one. Now, who's this guy? Okay. So we're going to talk about wrestling now. That was called a transition, folks. Backlash happened last week. And Rod, it was pretty close. I think Backlash did have a couple matches that were more fun than some of the matches at WrestleMania, including your match of the year candidate between Danhausen and Minihausen against Miz and...
Shout out to somebody. Somebody on this podcast mentioned Minihausen's as a possibility for his tag team partner. I think we all gave like specific guesses, but then somebody threw out Minihausen's. It might have even been Dax, our new super fan, who is definitely going to be coming back on this podcast soon. Loves the NBA, loves wrestling, will be a rotating member here quite often. But Jimmy, I've spoken recently about how I felt like the WWE has a lack of characters. Somebody rightly called me out on Twitter and said, oh, apparently you guys aren't talking about Danhausen. And I said, well, there's always an exception to most takes.
Yeah.
And Danhausen is great. It's a match of the year because I also talk about how, yes, fine, it's cool that these guys hate each other and that they start boiling over and they just have spittle and they just can't be apart from one another. And we got to just tear each other apart. Oh my God, can you believe it? We hate each other. That's okay, cool. That's real. But like every single storyline and main event is that we're going to get him in the ring to sign the contract. And oh my God, can you believe they can't even be in the ring together without swinging on one another? And Adam Pearce and his stooges are going to pull them apart. And oh no, they're coming back together again. Cool. Great. Fine. You know what also is fun? Storylines, buying into the magic, being taken to another world. And that's exactly what Danhausen, the Minihausens, Kit Wilson, and The Miz did for us at Backlash. Okay? Danhausen is a terrible wrestler. Minihausen was 7 times the wrestler Danhausen is, but it doesn't matter. Okay? Kit Wilson and The Miz had to do all of the work. They had to do all of the work to lose, but it doesn't matter at all, does it, Chris? Because Danhausen is the biggest star in the WWE, and that's what this is for.
Right? If you're the WWE, do you really want your biggest merch selling face right now getting hurt in the ring? You're probably trying to limit how much work he actually does, how many bumps he actually takes. So it's a perfect gimmick for that type of character. You're just cursing people, and then they screw up, a la fire extinguisher to the face of himself with The Miz, right? And Rod, you mentioned it in the pre-show gig where we got to give props to The Miz and Kit for how phenomenal they have been in this whole line, right? From setting up booby traps that fail. Like, it's been a perfect, Coyote and Roadrunner type situation. and it's
The Miz
phenomenal.
lost $40,000. The Miz lost $40,000.
Right? It's phenomenal. All of it. It's just fantastic. And I can't remember who it was. It was either Dax or Jimmy because it wasn't me. But the Minihausen guest was perfect. I believe El Torito, right? Is that what is?
Yep. Good job.
Right.
Excellent.
Phenomenal in the ring himself, right? Phenomenal work that he did. So I loved every minute of it. I think right now it's up there for match of the year for me too.
Wow. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought Masquerado Sagrada did a great job in the ring, as you were already talking about. And it's that the suspension of disbelief where it's just for fun, like you said. And it's a nice to get away from just like what Rod said. But before, I echo his comments. It's just, I hate you. Let's beat each other up. Speaking of which, Seth
Wait a
Rollins
minute, though.
and Braun Breaker.
Jim, I got to shout out one more thing. We got to shout out Michael Cole as well. Because when Kit Wilson pulled out the mirror and switched the mirror, that's Michael Cole also helping all of us buy into the lore. Just fabulous.
Yeah, that was great. That you don't see that very often. And by the way, Danhausen does have a cursed hat that is available for $26.99 in WWE Shop. It's a newer item, so it's not on sale right now. So maybe wait a little bit, but that might be added to the Cubs rotation here. We had Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker have their really huge matchup that was definitely the last time they're ever going to wrestle. Braun Breaker beat Seth Rollins in the middle of the ring, but of course we saw what happened this past week, so we're going to have more of that. Rod, it had to happen. You know it had to happen. You called it happening. How do you feel?
Not good. Really not good. Just not excited about the world that I now am going to have to live in, where my guy, being the phenomenal professional wrestler that he is, can make dudes. And that's what he did at Backlash. He absolutely further minted and embossed in gold and made it a limited edition trading card that you're going to want to run down to the card shop to get. He did all of that for Braun Breaker, a guy who was already a hot standout rookie card himself, right? He didn't need a whole lot of help, but Seth Rollins is so good that he put that embossing around him. Braun Breaker can stand on his own as a main eventer now. He doesn't have to be in a main event with Seth. He doesn't have to be in a main event with Roman. He can be a main eventer on his own all he wants. He's got the intensity. He's got the charisma. And now he's starting to build a resume. And I just have to get used to the fact that my guy's going to be around, Jimmy, and he's going to be making guys, but he's not going to be getting a whole lot of W's. But that's okay.
I agree. He's going to kind of transition a little bit, but his time ain't over, so don't worry. He'll get him back. He's got to get Cody Rhodes back eventually. I mean, come on. That has to happen. So I think he's in an interesting spot right now where you may see him take some more time off here and there as well, just to make sure that his body is getting where it needs to be, Chris.
Right. I was upset too. Listen, I wanted Rollins to win. You guys know that. But I can see something in the future that I think will be phenomenal when it happens. I'm hoping maybe it happens within a year or so. But I see a future where we're going to get Braun Breaker versus Obe Fema in a huge type of main event at some sort of PLE in about, like, give me that in like a year's time. I'm going to be very, very excited.
Trick Williams would like a conversation with you right now, Chris, but I think you might not be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a WrestleMania main event, hopefully. But how the WWE does things, it's a WrestleMania main event like 6 years instead of 2. Trick Williams and Sami Zayn were given double the amount of time that they had at WrestleMania, and the match was better for sure. Trick Williams gets the win. I think he's going to move on now. Not really much else to say about that one. That was fine. Nothing major.
We could shout out Little Yachty here. We could shout out Little Yachty.
Yeah.
I think Little Yachty is doing absolutely fabulous. When he rose out of the coffin during Gingerbread Man's funeral, which is, speaking of match of the year candidates, backstage segment of the year to Gingerbread Man's wake, and then his funeral in the ring was good. When Yachty rose up out was absolutely fabulous. That crowd popped huge for Little Yachty rising up out of that coffin, taking off the Gingerbread Man mask, and beating the piss out of Sami Zayn with the candy cane, pimp cane. You gotta love the WWE.
There were so many quotable moments in that wake, right? R-Truth, everybody. Just, it was phenomenal, that whole one.
Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns did such a good job in their match that 11 minutes into the match, people thought Jacob Fatu was going to win the championship. People went nuts for it. I think that having these guys, letting these guys just do their match was great. They had really powerful moves. They gave Jacob a ton. After the match, they do that thing sometimes where you get beat, but then you beat the guy down. That's fine. And obviously, we saw what happened this past week on Raw as well. They're going to go at it again, probably in Italy, and I'm assuming it's going to be no DQ, steel cage, something like that. Rod, did you enjoy the match?
I love any time my tribal chief gets in the ring, right? People want to complain about Roman Reigns taking a lot of time off, and I can't say that they're wrong about that, right? Just like I can't say that Chris is wrong to tell basketball teams to try to win. But what you have to remember about Roman Reigns when he comes around is he does it exactly perfect. He does it exactly right, and he makes it feel like a big friggin' deal. Okay. I think that that's what helped Backlash feel great, right? You had a good start. You had a bunch of good matches in the end, and then you had Roman Reigns in a knockdown, drag out, great main event where it looks like he's about to lose 3 or 4 times, because when you get down to the brass tacks of it, that's another thing that makes Roman Reigns. You think he's going to lose. Chris, like, you had to love so much during that Bloodline run when you were foaming at the mouth for Roman to lose, and every time he got in a big match, it looked like he was going to lose 7 times.
Right? No, he is the king of comeback, which I guess you want in a superstar, right? You want that comeback in the match. Like, no, I'm done taking it, and I want to take over. I think they put on a phenomenal match, right? It is. I know it's his slogan, but the dude really is all gas. He does not stop, right? Gets pinned, does not stop, doesn't care. You gotta love it. We're gonna see more of him because he is excellent in the ring, and he isn't bad on the mic either.
All right, we got to talk about it. Io Sky versus Asuka. No Kairi Sane. Asuka gets pinned after a very good match. Had a great match together. Really enjoyed it. And then Asuka starts crying, and Io Sky starts crying. They hug each other. Like, what the hell? And then people are saying, thanks to Asuka, and she put on something on Instagram about she did it her way. Asuka's going to take some time off. Now, apparently she is still under contract, and this isn't like a retirement, but I guess she's got to go back to Japan and get some stuff taken care of. A couple things. She was on Raw, which is good, and none of her merchandise is on sale right now at WWE. They're having a gigantic sale. Now, I will say, little caveat, Kabuki Warriors, the one shirt they have, is on sale. But Rod, I got my Kevin Owens shirt on. Kevin Owens is my favorite wrestler. Asuka is probably my second favorite wrestler. Damn it! Miss Asuka already.
Let's hope that Asuka's just getting a few things squared away, right, Jimmy? We try to make mention often that as much as we love buying into the world and as much as we want to be entertained, these folks do have real lives and they do have real personal situations that can come up. So Asuka could be dealing with all of that. But I, like you, I was troubled with the direction we were taking Asuka in. I was even more troubled with the direction that was sending Io Sky in. But when you give them time and you tell these ladies wrestle, they are going to give you the match that they gave you at Backlash. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I will come on here and complain till I'm blue in the face about what they are telling story-wise with Io Sky. But I also will look you right in the face and say, I'm not telling you Io Sky is a bad wrestler and it's her fault, because it definitely is not. And I like that they had her win. I like that she looked strong again. I like that Asuka gave her the hug and said, it's you. That props her up a little bit. So I'm happy that we turned the corner with Io. Sad like you that we might be losing Asuka for a little.
All right, I hope it's not for long, right? I also kind of looked at it. We know Kairi Zane's gone, so there's no, like, that storyline is kaput. You can't do anything more with that, so why not have them be friends again like they should be anyway? So I didn't look into it. I didn't know she had to go back to Japan. Hopefully it's not for very long, because I think she's fantastic in the ring. Always fun to watch. I love that match. It wasn't my favorite, but it was second or third favorite of the night. Backlash was a great show. It really was.
Yeah, I think we have to give credit where credit is due. A lot of the times we call them out when it's not good. Honestly, yeah, I agree with you. This is a really, really good show. All right.
Well, if we're going to talk about people,
go ahead.
I was going to say, Jimmy, if we're going to speak about people exiting, Chris brought up our guy Obafemi earlier. Loved the Obafemi Open Challenge about how Pierce came out and said nobody wants to take you on. And then also loved that my guy Angel and Berto thank you for your service. Olafemi's going to drag you out to the middle of the ring. He's going to beat the crap out of you, and then you're going to be gone from the WWE. But at least we gave you one last TV match before we sent you on your way. So apparently Angel and Berto are now gone too.
I love how the ref didn't even fight Obi. He's like, okay, we'll ring the bell. We'll ring the bell. Just don't hurt me.
Another two great wrestlers that are gone, and it really stinks that they don't have time for them. But SmackDown's going back down to 2 hours. This always happens. Again, always happens. See, I get so excited. Always happens around WrestleMania. It stinks because, like you said, these are real people. These are their jobs, and these are their careers, their aspirations. And some people are going to continue on. Some people aren't. It just kind of depends on what their situation is. Io Sky beat Asuka, and then she was going to wrestle Sol Ruka on Raw. And I'm like, well, why are you going to have her lose to Sol Ruka on Raw? Because Sol had a great matchup against, man, I'm dying today. I don't know what's going on with my names. With Liv Morgan. Your name is Morgan, Rod. I should probably know that. She lost to Liv Morgan, which she shouldn't have. She messed up the Soul Snatcher on Becky Lynch. It happens, whatever. And then she loses to Io Sky. What do they do with Sol Ruka? Sol, she needs to get some wins here. I know not everyone can win, but like, she's amazing. Maybe, I don't know, give her a push, Rod.
Yeah, I mean, we can't truck out B-Fab or Michin to take a loss versus her, right? We can't truck out. We could have kept Nikki Cross around for a couple more weeks to take a L before we sent her packing. You know what I mean? We couldn't have brought Zoe Stark back from injury. Maybe it was Zoe Stark. Is that her name? Is it Zoe Stark? Did I say her name right?
Did she get? Yeah,
I'm pretty
said it right.
She got cut too. That's what I mean. Like, we could, heck, I'm sorry, but she could have fought Alexa Bliss, right? I mean, like, Alexa's not somebody that's at the tip top of the card right now. You know what I mean? She could have fought the bird chick. What's her name? See, now, Jimmy, now you got me losing chicks' names. Lyra Valkyria. She could have wrestled against her. But Natty. No, you have to, or Natty. I guess Natty's got a thing going on in NXT right now. But no, you have to truck her out against two of the bigger stars in your company and lose. Here, you could have even trucked her out against Bayley, and Bayley could have taken the L, and then it would have felt like a big match against Bayley. But no, you had her lose. Jimmy, it's like what they did to Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross came up. We were excited about Karrion Kross coming up from NXT, and then they had him lose too many times in his first couple of matches, and then he was just dead and buried. Now, hopefully, Sol Ruka is going to get better character push than Karrion Kross ever got, but I'm worried.
Chris?
Is this something that they did not to hurt Sol Ruka, but to help turn that corner with Io, right? Maybe they were seeing the same things that Rod had been seeing, where she was getting looked at as lesser or a little sidekick, and they want to get her to look stronger. She just beat Asuka. Now she's able to just beat this strong up-and-comer that we've seen a bunch. I look at it more like that. I look at it more for good for Io. Sol Ruka is going to be all right because she is excellent in the ring.
You know, that's not a bad idea, Chris. That's a really good thought. I appreciate that. You're wrong. No, I think that's, you're right. I mean, they do need to bring up Io Sky because she has been booked very, very badly recently. I want to go back to Backlash real quick between Asuka and Io Sky. That match would have been 3.5 minutes on WrestleMania. So I'm really, really glad it was on Backlash. I'm really glad there. All right, finally, before we head out of here on the podcast, we have a pay-per-view in Italy and a Saturday night's main event coming up. I do want to really quick, right now, it looks like we're going to have some pretty big matchups in Italy. Gunther against Cody Rhodes. Reigns and Fatu, I guarantee, are going to do something. Ripley and Cargill are going to wrestle again. And then we're going to have Penta, Rusev, Javon Evans, and Ethan Page in a four-way for the IC title. I'm going to call it right now. Gunther's coming away with that championship, and he and Brock Lesnar will face off at SummerSlam.
Wow, Brock Lesnar puts the gloves back on to face the ring general. I'm cool with that. I don't know why we're messing around with Rhea and Jade Cargill still. I really don't, but I guess we have to continue to try to make Jade Cargill something. And I think Ethan Page should walk out of that four-way with the belt. I just think Ethan Page can do a little bit more for the Intercontinental Championship than Penta, who I love, and Javon Evans, who I love. But I just think Ethan Page's ability to hold the camera a little bit better than both of those guys does more for the IC title. And Rusev, my guy, I love the Bulgarian, but no.
It's always better when a heel has the Intercontinental title. It really is. We got to get Chelsea Green mended and back, and they have to be back together again like they were in NXT, Chris.
I don't know what they were like in NXT, but Chelsea Green
Gold.
definitely needs to get healthy and come back. She is 100% money when she is on the screen. All right. So, and I'm also with Rod. I think the Intercontinental title would be better off with Ethan Page. I think that gives it more gravitas. Like, it really hasn't had the gravitas it had when Gunther had the title. It has lost a lot of luster since then.
How dare you? Sammy's run was fine. How dare you?
Really?
Has been doing fine too, but he's a face. He is a face. Gunther is a heel. That's the reason. That's the
And
Penta's a face who won't show his face, Chris. That's what he is. Penta's a face who won't show his face.
Dude.
Listen, Ethan Page brought it up before I did, Jimmy. Come on.
And with that, you've been listening to the More You Know podcast. We are here every Thursday or Wednesday, depending on the season, really, at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Chris, tell us a little bit more about the More You Know, and what do we do here?
We talk about sports, specifically football, basketball, and wrestling. We are very fond of that. You can like, comment, subscribe.
Hey, and speaking of podcasts, Jimmy and I, in addition to our work here with sports and sports entertainment, if you're a music lover, we are launching a rock draft podcast in association with Classic Rock 97.7. So you can find that in its separate feed. It is called Rock Draft. You can also find a link to it through Classic Rock 97.7's Facebook page and website here pretty soon as well. So look out for Rock Draft. We're going to be coming at you once a month. And of course, because I like to compete, people will come on the show and take me on in a rock themed draft. Jimmy, help me work on the first one. It's going to be out in your podcast land very, very soon. Help Jimmy and I out. Like, comment, subscribe, follow that podcast. They may pay us for it someday.
Bye, Internet.
What's this pay thing you speak of?
Human monies?
No, I was told. Well, no, they didn't say human monies.
They did not.
I was told we make our living off of this in a Facebook comment. So, and we're idiots for that.
Solo Sikoa, also, I pledge my undying love to Solo Sikoa.
He has a chance to be like